Hi everybody, welcome to today's issue of 7 Happenings in My Manufacturing and Automation feed. Hi everybody, welcome to today's edition of 7 Happenings in My Manufacturing and Automation Twitter feeds. Let's go to item 1. The U.S. Energy Information Administration, or EIA, reports that the capacity of U.S. coal mines has fallen 28% since 2009 peak. Utilization rates have remained more stable at underground mines because almost all U.S. metallurgical coal, which is used in steel production, is mined underground, and demand for metallurgical coal has remained somewhat stable. Demand for thermal coal, which is used for electricity generation and industrial, commercial, and institutional heat, has steadily declined since 2011. Now, the transition from coal to natural gas for electric power generation and increasing renewable energy supplies to the grid have deeply affected demand over the past several years. Okay, let's go to number 2. Gas Processing reports that over 70% of the total midstream projects that have been affected are in the U.S. Consequently, several oil and gas companies with midstream operations have had to revisit their business strategies and CapEx plans for 2020 amid dwindling revenues, with LNG buyers' preferences shifting more towards short-term or spot contracts. Bagging long-term supply contracts has become a challenge for LNG project developers. And as was noted several years ago at one of the CERAWeek conferences in Houston, the market for natural gas imports and exports have become much more global, and this is changing the way buyers and sellers are connecting there. Okay, item 3. Quote, investment in metals needed to make batteries, including cobalt and nickel, lag far behind growing battery demand, estimates from the energy research firm Wood Mackenzie indicate, suggesting there could be a bottleneck in the supply chain. Batteries cost $1,100 per kilowatt hour back in 2010 and fell 87% to $156 in 2019, according to Bloomberg study released last year. By 2023, consultant forecasts an average price to hit about $100 per kilowatt hour. Let's look closely at these advances and see how the economics play out versus today's carbon-based resources. Okay, moving to number 4. In keeping with today's energy theme, a Bloomberg opinion article notes that hydrogen is a $1 trillion bet on the future, quoting the article's author. Quote, a viable green hydrogen industry could power production of steel, cement, and fertilizers, fuel trucks, trains, ships, and aircrafts, and balance wind and solar-based power grids, and in the process eliminate roughly a quarter of the world's carbon dioxide emissions, unquote. Now, green hydrogen production is using electrolysis from renewable sources to split water into its hydrogen and oxygen components. Time will tell how this bet pays off. All right, Process Worldwide shares the news that here at Emerson, we have introduced a new micromotion Coriolis flow meter designed for high-pressure hydrogen dispensing and chemical injection applications, where measurement accuracy and safety are essential. The micromotion Coriolis HPC 015 flow meter is capable of a flow accuracy margin of 0.5% for gas and 0.1% for liquid mass flow measurement. which is a significant improvement over existing meters. With all this news around hydrogen, it's great to see a really accurate flow measurement technology emerge. Okay, let's move on to number 6. Chem Manager reports that, quote, medium-sized and larger chemical companies are currently experiencing a profound transformation. It is no longer a question of implementing digital technologies. The goal is now completely to transform existing processes and structures, and this also involves more complex challenges that are being tackled in the longer term, end quote. Now, a lot of this COVID-created cost and human resource pressures are forcing not only chemical manufacturers, but manufacturers across all industries to accelerate their digital transformation initiatives. Okay, and last but not least, on a somewhat creepier note, Psychology Today notes that optogenetics enables artificial and biological neuronal networks to communicate. Quote, using optogenetics, the team created real-time communications between the synthetic and biological neuronal networks. Optogenetics is a procedure where genetic code is added to a target cell, such as a neuron, to enable it to produce light-responsive proteins called opsins, unquote. Now, this could have really helped me with all that mind-bending math I took in college to become an engineer, but I'm not sold that this technology would only be used for good. Let's just see how it all unfolds here. Well, thank you everybody for joining, and have a great rest of your week.